Hey guys, what's going on? It's Eli with Little Blue, and yep, now he's finally after part one. He wasn't able to show up for part one, but now he is for part two and three. So today for part two, and later on part three will be coming. So that's right, part two of Loki, and of course he had watched the show too. And what did you think of like episodes 1 and 2? Because I had reviewed episodes 1 and 2 for part one.
It pretty much dovetailed his
Episodes 1 and 2 I'm talking about.
Yes, but his going in episode
Quickly.
1 sort of dovetailed his his using the Tesseract to escape from Endgame.
That was a little tease in Endgame.
Exactly. So we knew pretty much that this is where he was going to wind up. I mean, based on the series, we knew that he was going to wind up in a weird place, and that's exactly where he wound up, in a weird place.
Yep.
So you have these time overseers that oversee time, and they basically enforce time and make sure that there's no there's no pollution of the timeline, so to speak. And this is their job. This is what they do, and this is where Loki winds up in the middle of all this.
Yes, and so episode 1 and 2, you thought they were good?
I thought they were very good. Yes.
Yeah. Now for part 2, it's episodes 3 and 4, and after episode 2, we got the appearance of the female Loki.
Yes.
What's her name again? Sylvia.
I think so. Sylvia. I think.
Sylvia.
And so
now in episode 3. What's it called?
Laments.
Lamentus. In that one, it's entirely Sylvia and Loki. They're on some planet, and they're on like a train and a town and a moon that's being destroyed.
Exactly, and the moon's being destroyed, and it's basically destroying the planet. So where they've ended up is where their time is going to end. If they stay there.
Yeah, exactly. And one scene on the train, Loki gets drunk and starts singing.
Yes, exactly.
And he exposes himself with the TVA uniform he's got on.
Right. The TVA, the ones that enforce the timeline.
Yeah, and and Sylvia's attitude and personality. I liked Sylvia as the show proceeded.
Yeah, I did too.
And what'd you think of her too?
I thought she was a good character. She was different than Loki, even though she was like a female counterpart to Loki.
Exactly.
But she still had that feistiness, and she still had that that fighting instinct, and conniving, and skillful the way Loki is. Loki's always been a schemer. So she was kind of a schemer too. But she had the one thing that Loki did not have or had never used. She could cast spells.
Yes.
And she shows that, she shows that ability several times throughout the series. So
yeah. And in episode 4, the Nexus event, because they get pulled into TVA,
Yes.
And they're both arrested, and in like episode 4, that's where we get the appearance of Sif.
Yes.
Lady Sif. Yeah.
Yes.
Of like, I guess, a memory for Loki,
Mm-hmm.
and it repeats.
It keeps looping. It's like a time loop, and it's punishment.
Yes, it is.
It's
because Loki did something to Lady Sif's hair.
Right.
Morbius.
Mobius.
I think so. Yeah.
And Mobius.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson's character Mobius is punishing Loki, but with this time loop.
But Morbius. I think is it Mobius or Morbius?
Mobius.
Mobius is learning and finding out that the TVA is all a lie too.
Of course, that's where it starts to unravel. You start to see the truth, and you see basically you end up seeing the man behind the curtain, so to speak. So
yes. And that's in part 3, which we'll get to. But more on episode 4 because also, if I recall, because I think it's in this and episode 5. I kind of can't remember, but Sylvia and the judge lady,
Right.
Yeah, them interacting and such. And Sylvia actually broke a spell or something on one of the guards, the female guard.
Yes.
That. And yeah, I thought that episodes 3 and 4 were pretty good. I especially liked episode 3 because it was all about, it was just centering on pretty much, Loki and Sylvia and where they were going and their interaction, so on.
Exactly.
That was good. So I gotta admit, I think episode 3 was probably my favorite one.
Yes, I would say so.
Do you
too.
have a favorite episode?
In
season 1.
I liked episode 3 very much, but also I did like episode 4. I've seen the whole thing now, so I have to say, getting down to the wire, there were other episodes that really appealed to me. We'll save those for later, but
For part 3.
exactly.
Which will be coming up pretty soon. So that's part 2 of our review of Loki, episodes 3, Lamentus. Ugh, how hard is that to say? Episode 3, Lamentus, and episode 4, the Nexus event. And for part 3, episodes 5 and 6. And these ones get pretty interesting and pretty good. So stay tuned for part 3. Any last words?
Must be off.
He says that for me. We hope you enjoyed part 2 of Loki, our review of Loki, of course, and we'll see you guys in the next video/review video. And again, one last time, stay tuned for part 3. Take care, peace out, and Avengers, assemble.